First Contact's Price. The stars looked different from New Eden. That's what Dr. Elena Santos thought as she gazed through the colony's main observatory dome, watching the unfamiliar constellations of humanity's first extrasolar settlement. After 3 years, she still hadn't gotten used to them. The patterns were wrong, like a puzzle reassembled by a child's clumsy hands. She was recording her weekly astronomical observations when the first alarm sounded. Not the shrill emergency tone she'd grown accustomed to during drills, but something deeper, more primal. A sound she'd never heard before. Attention all citizens of New Eden. The colony eye's voice was unnaturally calm. Multiple unidentified vessels have entered the system. This is not a drill. Please proceed to your designated shelter areas immediately. Elena's hands trembled as she secured her research tablets. Through the dome, she could see them now. Dark shapes moving against the stars, their hulls reflecting the light of New Eden's sun in ways that defied conventional physics. They weren't human ships. After 2 centuries of space exploration, humanity had never encountered another spacefaring civilization. Until now. The first blast struck the colony's outer agricultural dome. There was no warning, no attempt at communication. The energy weapon burned through the reinforced plasteel like it was paper, vaporizing 3 generations of carefully cultivated crops in seconds. The second strike hit the water reclamation facility. They were being methodical, Elena realized with horror. These weren't random attacks. The aliens were systematically destroying their life support systems. In the command center, Colonial Governor Marcus Chen watched the attack unfold with cold fury. The aliens' technology was centuries beyond anything humanity had publicly displayed. Their weapons cut through the colony's best defenses like they weren't even there. "Sir," his tactical officer's voice cracked. "They're targeting the school complex." Chen's blood ran cold. 800 children were in those buildings, including his daughter Maya. The colony's future, humanity's future on this world, gathered in one place. "Activate the Lazarus Protocol," Chen ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of what he was about to do. For 2 centuries, humanity had maintained the facade of being a young, relatively primitive spacefaring species. They had hidden their true capabilities, buried their real history, all in the hope of peaceful first contact. That hope died with the first explosion at the school complex. Deep beneath New Eden's surface, in chambers whose existence was known only to a select few, ancient systems hummed to life. The colony's seemingly primitive defense grid flickered and transformed. Quantum-locked arrays that had lain dormant since the colony's founding began to power up, their energy signatures revealing technology that should have been impossible for primitive humans to possess. But it wasn't enough. The aliens' attack was too swift, too precise. By the time the hidden defenses came online, the school complex was gone. 800 children, vaporized in an instant of searing light. The response from Earth came within hours, transmitted through channels that bypassed normal space-time. The message was brief. "The Sentinel Protocol is authorized. May God have mercy on their souls." In high orbit around Earth, orbital platforms that had masqueraded as communications satellites for decades began to shift and change. On Mars, entire sections of the polar ice caps sublimated away, revealing vast hangar complexes. From Jupiter's moon Europa, ships emerged from the ice, their designs unlike anything humanity had publicly admitted to possessing. The aliens, who identified themselves as the Varaxian Empire, believed they were dealing with a primitive species, barely capable of interstellar travel. They had chosen New Eden as their first target precisely because it seemed so vulnerable, so far from Earth's protection. They expected their show of force to bring humanity to its knees, to force their submission to imperial rule. What they got instead was extinction. The first human counterattack came from weapons platforms that simply hadn't existed moments before, emerging from subspace pockets around New Eden. The Varaxian ships' supposedly impenetrable shields meant nothing to weapons that operated on principles their science had never conceived of. 3 Voraxian dreadnoughts simply ceased to exist, their atomic structure gently and precisely disassembled. No explosion, no debris field, just empty space where city-sized warships had been moments before. The Voraxian commander, Supreme Executor Calivor, watched in disbelief as his fleet's most powerful weapons splashed harmlessly against defenses that now enveloped the colony. His sensors couldn't even begin to comprehend the principles behind them. This was impossible. Humans were primitives, barely able to achieve faster-than-light travel. His empire's technology was centuries beyond theirs. Then he received the transmission. It came simultaneously through every communication system on his flagship, bypassing encryptions that had never been broken in the Empire's 1,000-year history. The human who appeared on his screens was older, her uniform unlike anything the Empire's intelligence had documented. Admiral Sarah Chen, Maya's grandmother, spoke with the weight of centuries. "You believed us to be children," she said, her voice carrying no anger, only a deep, terrible sadness. "You saw our primitive ships, our struggling colonies, and thought us easy prey. Did you never wonder why there were such vast empty sectors around Earth? Did you never question why so many ancient battlefields just happened to form a perfect defensive perimeter around our solar system?" Calvor felt his secondary heart stop as understanding dawned. The primitive human ships, the seemingly random pattern of dead zones, and ancient battlefields. It had all been carefully crafted misdirection. "We chose isolation," Admiral Chen continued. "After the last Great War, 50,000 years ago, we chose to step back, to rebuild, to try a different path. We hid our true nature because we wanted to believe in peaceful cooperation, in the possibility that species could meet as equals rather than conquerors and conquered." Her expression hardened. "Today, you killed 800 children, including my great-granddaughter, to make a point about your empire's power. In doing so, you have awakened something we spent 50 millennia trying to move beyond. The galaxy is about to remember why the ancient zones are forbidden, why certain powers were sealed away." As she spoke, more ships emerged from hyperspace, vessels that made his dreadnoughts look like children's toys. Their design spoke of an aesthetic that predated his civilization, their hull markings matching symbols found in ruins across the galaxy. The last transmission from Supreme Executor Calvor's flagship was a warning to the Empire. "Do not send reinforcements. Do not attempt revenge. We awakened something that should have remained sleeping. May the gods forgive us." Its ship disappeared moments later, converted to its component atoms with a precision that spoke of technology so advanced it bordered on magic. In the ruins of New Eden's school complex, Governor Chen stood in what had been his daughter's classroom. A single data tablet had survived, its screen still showing the essay Maya had been writing when the attack came. The topic, "Why Peaceful First Contact is Important for Humanity's Future." The facade was over. Humanity's long sleep had ended, and the galaxy was about to learn why some species chose to hide their power not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. The Awakening Protocol. The ice of Europa had kept its secrets for 50,000 years. Beneath kilometers of frozen water, in chambers carved by technologies long hidden from the galaxy's eyes, Administrator James Chen watched as ancient systems stirred to life. His sister Elena's message from New Eden still echoed in his mind. They killed the children. All of them. The facility's quantum displays flickered with activity as dormant AIs reactivated, their consciousness spanning millennia. The central hologram showed the galaxy in real time, countless points of light representing the spread of humanity's hidden sensors. Red markers appeared throughout Voraxian space, military installations, shipyards, command centers, all carefully mapped over 2 centuries of patient observation. "System initialization complete," announced Araya, the facility's eye coordinator. Her avatar, a shifting pattern of blue light, materialized beside James. "All Guardian-class vessels report ready for deployment, waiting for final authorization." James placed his hand on the ancient control panel, its surface recognizing his genetic signature. a lineage carefully preserved since the end of the last war. Show me the fleet. The chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the vast underground ocean and the ships suspended within it. They weren't the bulky, primitive vessels humanity had used in public. These were the legacy of the Guardians, humanity's true ancestors. Sleek vessels of impossible geometries, their hulls composed of materials that could rewrite local physics at will. The Varaxian Empire has mobilized their main battle fleets, Araya reported. They are converging on New Eden. Estimated arrival time: 6 hours. James nodded grimly. They expect to find a devastated colony and a primitive species ready to surrender. Deploy the Sentinel grid. Across the solar system, hidden installations awakened. On Mars, quantum forges that had masqueraded as natural formations began producing weapons and ships at rates that defied conventional manufacturing limits. In the Kuiper Belt, stealth platforms shifted out of dimensional storage, their sensors extending across light years. The Varaxian response fleet was impressive by modern galactic standards, over 3,000 ships, including their legendary planet breakers, ships that could crack worlds in half, commanded by admirals who had never known defeat. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect attack formation, their sensors probing for Earth's primitive defenses. Instead, they found themselves surrounded. The Guardian vessels moved like liquid starlight, their very presence distorting spacetime. Weapons that could devastate planets splashed harmlessly against shields that operated on principles forgotten by the galaxy for 50 millennia. Admiral Saravel, commander of the Varaxian response fleet, watched in horror as her ship's most powerful weapons had no effect. "Impossible," she whispered. "Their technology. It's beyond anything in our records." The human response came through all channels simultaneously. James Chen's voice was calm, almost gentle. "Your empire killed 800 children to prove a point about strength. Now, let us prove a point about wisdom." The first shot from a Guardian vessel didn't destroy its target. Instead, it transformed a Varaxian dreadnought into its component atoms, rearranging them into a perfect sphere of inert materials. The demonstration was clear. They could have chosen annihilation, but opted for something more precise. 50,000 years ago, James continued, humanity faced a choice. We had weapons that could unmake galaxies, technologies that made us like gods. We could have ruled everything we saw. Instead, we chose to step back, to seal away our most dangerous creations, to try evolving again from scratch. On his command, the Guardian ships began systematic neutralization of the Varaxian fleet, not destruction, transformation. Ships became sculptures, weapons turned to harmless light shows, crews transported safely to habitable worlds. "We hid our true nature because we remembered what power did to us before," James explained to the increasingly desperate Varaxian commanders. "We rebuilt our civilization from scratch, hoping to learn wisdom before reclaiming our inheritance. For 50,000 years, we developed our technology in secret, building defenses while presenting a facade of primitive capability to the galaxy. Deep in Europa's ocean, Araya's displays showed the status of humanity's awakening. The Sentinel grid was fully operational, providing real-time quantum surveillance of the entire galaxy. The Mars forges were at full production, preparing for any possible escalation, and from other hidden facilities came reports of additional Guardian technologies activating, abilities that the galaxy had dismissed as myths and legends. "Your attack on our children forced our hand," James continued. "You've awakened capabilities we hoped would stay dormant for millennia more. The question now is, what lesson will your empire learn from this?" In the Varaxian capital, the High Council watched in stunned silence as their invincible fleet was systematically neutralized. Reports flooded in from across their territory, hidden human installations revealing themselves, ancient technologies coming online, their entire defense network suddenly transparent to forces they couldn't begin to comprehend. Humanity had hidden their true nature not out of fear, but out of a deep understanding of power's corruption. They had chosen to evolve naturally, to develop their civilization again from scratch, while maintaining the guardianship of technologies that could reshape reality itself. The Awakening Protocol wasn't just about activating ancient weapons. It was the end of humanity's long masquerade, the revelation of a truth that would reshape galactic civilization. Some species chose peace, not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to understand the responsibility that came with power. As the last Varaxian ship was neutralized, James sent a final message to their leadership. "We will not destroy your empire. We will not seek revenge. Instead, we offer you a choice, the same choice we made 50,000 years ago. Learn wisdom or face extinction. The galaxy need not be ruled by force." In the depths of Europa, watching the galaxy come to terms with humanity's true nature, James thought of the children of New Eden. Their deaths had forced the awakening of powers long dormant, but perhaps their sacrifice would lead to something greater, a galaxy that finally understood the difference between power and wisdom. Legacy of the Guardians. The Library of Alexandria wasn't in Egypt. The real one, humanity's true repository of knowledge, lay hidden in a dimensional pocket beneath the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Sarah Chen, Maya's mother, stood before its quantum archives, watching as 50,000 years of hidden history played out before her. The holographic displays showed scenes from humanity's first rise to power. Vast fleets of guardian vessels maintaining peace across thousands of galaxies, technologies that could create or destroy solar systems at will, and the terrible burden of being the galaxy's most advanced civilization. "Display historical node 47 Alpha," Sarah commanded. The fall of the Guardian Council. The scene shifted to a vast chamber, where humanity's ancient leadership faced a crisis that would reshape their civilization. Their technology had advanced to the point where they could reshape reality itself. But with that power came a terrible price. The corruption of purpose, the erosion of empathy, the slow transformation of guardians into gods. "We were not meant for this power," spoke High Guardian Alexandra Chen, Sarah's ancestor from 50 millennia ago. "We have become what we once fought against. Our wisdom lags far behind our capabilities." The historical recording showed the final meeting of the Guardian Council, where humanity made its most profound choice. Rather than continue as the galaxy's supreme power, they would step back. They would seal away their most advanced technologies, hide their true capabilities, and begin anew. But they wouldn't abandon their role completely. Instead, they established the Great Sleep, a plan spanning millennia. Hidden installations were built throughout the galaxy, disguised as natural phenomena or ancient ruins. The most advanced technologies were sealed away in dimensional vaults, protected by genetic locks keyed to carefully preserved bloodlines. Humanity would rebuild itself from scratch, experiencing evolution and development again, this time with the hope of gaining the wisdom to match their power. The Guardian fleet was hidden away, its ships scattered across secret bases throughout the galaxy. Only a select few would maintain the knowledge of humanity's true heritage, watching and waiting. Sarah accessed another historical node, showing the careful work of generations. The creation of the dead zones, actually hidden defensive perimeters. The establishment of quantum observation posts disguised as debris fields. The patient gathering of data about every spacefaring civilization that arose during humanity's self-imposed exile. "Display current tactical overlay," she commanded. The historical images were replaced by a real-time map of the galaxy. The Varaxian Empire's territory glowed red, their military installations marked as targets. But beyond them, Sarah could see other potential threats, civilizations that, like the Varaxians, had begun to walk the path of conquest and dominion. AI. Sarah addressed the AI that had helped maintain humanity's secret for millennia. "Show me the Awakening Protocol's current status." The display shifted, showing the systematic revelation of humanity's hidden capabilities. Guardian installations were coming online across the galaxy, their quantum sensors recording the shocked reactions of countless civilizations. The facade of primitive humanity was being stripped away, revealing the truth that had laid dormant for 50,000 years. But with this awakening came responsibility. Sarah accessed the genetic memory banks, reviewing the lessons learned by her ancestors. The Guardian civilization hadn't fallen to external threats. It had nearly destroyed itself through the corruption that came with unlimited power. "Initiate Protocol Prometheus," she commanded. Throughout the galaxy, hidden quantum processors began transmitting data packets to every advanced civilization. Not weapons specifications or technological secrets, but something far more valuable: history. The true history of humanity's rise, their near fall, and their choice to step back from power. "Let them understand," Sarah whispered, thinking of her daughter Maya and the other children who died at New Eden. "Let them see why we chose to hide." The quantum archives showed scenes from humanity's past. The terrible weapons they had created, the civilizations they had inadvertently destroyed through careless use of power, the slow corruption of noble intentions. But it also showed their redemption. The choice to seal away their power, to experience evolution again, to seek wisdom before reclaiming their inheritance. In the Voraxian capital, their historians watched in awe as humanity's true history unfolded before them. They saw the power their empire had foolishly provoked, not just weapon systems and advanced technologies, but the collective wisdom of a civilization that had reached the peak of power and chosen to step back. The messages flowing through the quantum network carried not just information, but a choice. Humanity was awakening, their full power returning, but they offered the galaxy an alternative to submission. They offered the wisdom gained through 50,000 years of voluntary constraint, the lessons learned through their own near destruction. Sarah moved through the library's endless archives, each quantum storage cell containing knowledge that could revolutionize civilizations. But she wasn't looking for weapons or technological secrets. She sought something far more precious: the records of how humanity had learned to balance power with wisdom. "We'd hide no longer," she transmitted across the quantum network, her message reaching every advanced civilization in the galaxy. "But we remember why we chose to hide. We offer you not submission to our power, but partnership in our wisdom." The children of New Eden died because the galaxy had forgotten the difference between strength and dominion. Their legacy will be a new understanding that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to choose not to. The Library of Alexandria hummed with activity as it prepared to share 50,000 years of accumulated wisdom with a galaxy that had forgotten the true meaning of power. In its quantum depths, Sarah Chen stood watch, hoping that this time, history would take a different path. The counter-strike. The Voraxian Empire had never known fear. For 1,000 years, they had been the masters of their space, their planet breaker ships ensuring absolute compliance from any who would resist. But as Admiral Elena Santos watched from the bridge of the Guardian vessel Remembrance, she saw something new in their tactics: desperation. The Voraxian defense fleet above their homeworld, Vorax Prime, was arranged in a sphere of overlapping fields of fire. 5,000 ships, including their remaining planet breakers, prepared for humanity's inevitable retaliation. Their energy shields created a barrier that could withstand the impact of multiple supernovas. It wouldn't be enough. "All Guardian vessels, execute Operation Lightbringer," Elena commanded. Her voice carried across the quantum network to the fleet of ancient ships that had emerged from humanity's hidden facilities. "Remember the parameters: minimal loss of life, maximum strategic impact. We're here to end their capacity for war, not to commit genocide." The Guardian ships moved like thoughts given form, their quantum drives allowing them to exist in multiple points in spacetime simultaneously. The Voraxians' most advanced sensors couldn't track them. They operated on principles that the Empire's science had never even theorized. The first strike came from everywhere at once. Quantum beams that ignored conventional shields struck every major military installation in the Voraxian system simultaneously. Buildings, weapons, and ships weren't destroyed. They were transformed. Molecular reorganization turned doomsday weapons into gardens, warships into orbital habitats, military bases into parks. Status report. Elena commanded, watching the systematic dismantling of an empire's war machine. Phase 1 complete, reported Araya, whose consciousness was distributed throughout the Guardian fleet. 87% of Voraxian military assets neutralized. 0 casualties. Proceeding to Phase 2. The Voraxian High Command, watching from their supposedly impregnable bunker beneath the Imperial Palace, received humanity's transmission on all frequencies. Elena's image appeared before them, her expression carrying not triumph, but understanding. "Your empire killed our children thinking we were weak," she said. "We now demonstrate true strength. The power to destroy coupled with the wisdom not to." Observe. The Guardian ships initiated Phase 2. Quantum fields enveloped the remaining Voraxian fleet. Their weapons didn't cease functioning. Instead, they transformed. The Empire's dreaded planet breakers found themselves suddenly capable only of terraforming, their world-destroying capabilities converted into the power to heal dying worlds. High Admiral Kexnar, Supreme Commander of the Voraxian forces, watched in stunned silence as his fleet's greatest weapons became instruments of creation. "How?" he whispered. "This defies all known laws of physics." "No," Elena corrected gently. "It defies all laws of physics known to you. Humanity chose to hide these capabilities because 50,000 years ago, we learned that power without wisdom leads to destruction. We sealed away our advanced technology, not out of fear, but out of responsibility." The Guardian ships moved through the Voraxian defenses like light through crystal. Their actions were precise, measured, transformative rather than destructive. Weapon factories became medical research facilities. Military academies transformed into universities focused on peaceful scientific advancement. "We could unmake your civilization with a thought," Elena continued. "Instead, we offer transformation. Your empire's capacity for war ends today, but your potential for growth is unlimited." Deep in their bunker, the Voraxian High Command received data streams showing the status of their empire. Their military infrastructure wasn't being destroyed. It was being repurposed. The quantum processors at the heart of their war machines now contained libraries of human scientific knowledge, freely given. "Why?" demanded Emperor Vexthor, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and awe. "Why show mercy after what we did?" Elena's response carried the weight of 50,000 years of human reflection. "Because the children who died at New Eden dreamed of a galaxy united by wisdom, not fear. We honor their memory not through revenge, but through transformation." The Guardian fleet initiated the final phase of their operation. Quantum fields expanded to envelope the entire Voraxian system. Time itself seemed to pause as reality reformed according to humanity's will. When it resumed, the Voraxian Empire's capacity to wage war had been systematically and irrevocably transformed. But they hadn't been destroyed. Instead, they found themselves with something many of them had never known they wanted: freedom from the constant drive for military supremacy. Their greatest weapons had become their greatest tools for peaceful advancement. "The age of empires built on fear is ending," Elena announced, her message now broadcasting to every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy. "Humanity awakens not to rule, but to guide. We offer not submission to our power, but partnership in our wisdom." From the bridge of the remembrance, Elena watched as the quantum sensors registered the impact of their demonstration across the galaxy. Other militant civilizations were already standing down, recognizing that the paradigm of military supremacy had become obsolete in a single day. The counterstrike was complete. Humanity had responded to an act of aggression, not with blind destruction, but with calculated transformation. They had demonstrated power beyond comprehension, then shown the wisdom to use it not for dominance, but for change. As the Guardian fleet prepared to withdraw, Elena transmitted a final message to the former empire. "The children of New Eden died because you didn't understand the difference between power and strength. Their legacy will be a galaxy that never makes that mistake again." New Dawn. 1 year after the Voraxian incident, The New Eden Memorial Garden loomed where the school once stood. Governor Marcus Chen walked among the quantum-engineered flowers that caught starlight and transformed it into subtle bioluminescence. Each plant represented a child lost in the attack, their DNA encoded into the flower's genetic structure. A living memorial of what was lost and what had changed. Above, the night sky told a different story. Where once there had been empty space, now streams of ships moved between the stars. Not the aggressive vessels of empire, but ships of commerce, exploration, and cultural exchange. The galaxy was transforming, one system at a time. The children would have loved this, Alina Santos said, joining Marcus in the garden. She had retired from her role as admiral, choosing instead to lead New Eden's reconstruction. Maya always wanted to see different worlds unite in peace. Marcus touched one of the glowing flowers, watching as it responded to his presence with a soft pulse of light. We revealed ourselves to protect them, but ended up fulfilling their dreams instead. The quantum communications array of the edge of the garden activated, projecting a galaxy-wide conference in progress. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered in virtual space, discussing the implementation of the Guardian Protocols, the new framework for galactic civilization that humanity had proposed. Former Emperor Vexthor of the Voraxian Empire, now first speaker of the Voraxian Cooperative, addressed the assembly. A year ago, we thought power meant the ability to destroy. Humanity showed us that true power lies in the ability to transform. Our former planet breakers have now terraformed 30 dying worlds, creating new homes for species we once would have conquered. The gathering wasn't just political. Through quantum networks that humanity had unsealed, civilizations were sharing knowledge, culture, and wisdom accumulated over millennia. The barriers between species were falling, not through force, but through understanding. In Earth's orbital space, the Guardian fleet maintained its vigilant watch, but with a different purpose now. Their advanced technology was being gradually shared with other civilizations, but only as they demonstrated the wisdom to use it responsibly. It was a process of mentorship, not dominance. We have a signal from the exploration corps, Araya announced, her avatar materializing in the garden. The first joint expedition has reached the Galactic Core. The quantum drives are performing as expected. The Exploration Corps represented something unprecedented. Ships crewed by members of different species working together, using humanity's advanced technology to push the boundaries of known space. Many were former military officers, their skills now turned to discovery rather than conquest. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the True Library of Alexandria, Dr. Sarah Chen was conducting another kind of exploration. The quantum archives were being systematically unsealed, their knowledge shared with carefully chosen researchers from across the galaxy. But this time, the focus was on wisdom rather than just technological advancement. Display Sector 7 progress, she commanded. The holographic displays showed the status of various civilizations adapting to the new paradigm. Some had embraced it immediately, their warships already converted to exploration vessels. Others were more hesitant, requiring patience and guidance. The galaxy was learning what humanity had discovered 50,000 years ago, that the greatest power isn't the ability to destroy or dominate, but the wisdom to choose a better path. In the quantum streams that connected civilizations, stories were being shared, stories of the children of New Eden, whose deaths had triggered not a war of vengeance, but a transformation of galactic society. Their names were remembered not as victims, but as catalysts for change. The Guardian Council, reformed with representatives from all spacefaring species, met regularly in quantum space to discuss the challenges of this new era. They faced questions that humanity had grappled with millennia ago. How to balance power with responsibility, how to advance without losing wisdom, how to maintain peace without resorting to force. Marcus Chen's quantum implant pinged softly. Another civilization had just achieved the prerequisites for accessing basic Guardian technology. This one had done so not through military might or technological advancement, but by demonstrating their commitment to peaceful cooperation and ethical progress. "We're receiving a transmission from the Varaxian Cooperative," Araya announced. "They're requesting permission to establish a cultural exchange center here at New Eden. They want to honor the memory of the children by creating a place where young beings from all species can learn together." Marcus smiled, touching another luminescent flower. "Maya would have loved that." Approved the request. The garden's quantum field rippled slightly as the decision was logged, another small step in the galaxy's transformation. Above, the stars seemed brighter somehow, their light carrying the promise of a future that the children of New Eden had dreamed of, a future where power served wisdom, and peace wasn't maintained by fear, but by understanding. In the end, humanity's greatest revelation to the galaxy hadn't been their advanced technology or hidden power. It had been the simple truth that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to create, to transform, to guide. The children of New Eden had died believing in the possibility of peaceful cooperation between species. Through their sacrifice, that dream had become reality. The quantum-enhanced flowers continued their gentle glow, each one a reminder of what was lost and what had been gained. In their light, the galaxy had found a new dawn.